pumpkins. I recorded a November Dark Academia TBR towards the beginning of the month, and I went to edit it a few days ago and there was no sound. So that's 30 minutes of recording that I cannot use, but I am going to go out today and do some fun errands. And one of the things that I'm doing is my favorite little British style pub, which you've probably seen on a previous vlog, is having their cask club dinner tonight, which is the dinner for everyone that's in their like mug club essentially, which I am. So I'm gonna go to that. I'm gonna take you along with me. It's definitely got Dark Academia vibes. I'm gonna try and maybe hit up some bookshops, just whatever I can throw in here to make this sort of a Dark Academia vlog. And while I do that, I'm gonna tell you about my TBR in a very casual fashion. I'm not gonna talk a ton about the books, just tell you about what I'm reading. So I hope you'll come along with me for that and hear about what books I'm reading for November. Come on the adventures I'm going to go on today. Welcome back to the House Beyond the Hedge. So before we leave to go on our errands, the first of which is get something to eat because I am very hungry. We're going to go to Bo's, which is one of my favorite places. You've probably seen that on a vlog too. I go to a lot of the same places, but Bo's is doing breakfast all day today and they have the best bagels. So I'm gonna go there and actually get a breakfast sandwich, even though it's like 1 o'clock right now. And then we're gonna go to a little market, which is actually a holiday market. So I think I'm gonna save most of the footage from that for maybe another video. But then we're gonna try and maybe hit some bookstores, get a tea or something. So we'll just see where the day takes us. But first, I wanna tell you about the first book on my Dark Academia TBR, and that is Ninth House. I have not read this before. It's been on my list for a couple of years. I've heard many good things about it, and I am really excited to read it. And I will tell you now that because I filmed this TBR 2 weeks ago and then did not post it, I have already finished this. So can confirm that this book is really good. And the second book on my TBR, which I will tell you about a little bit later. Well, no, I'm gonna tell you about it now because it's just the sequel to this book. So let me get that. There's no point in waiting to tell you about this because my second book, which I'm reading right now, is just the sequel to Ninth House, and it is Hellbent. And these are both by Leigh Bardugo. And like I said, loved this book. I'm so glad, honestly, that I waited to read this because it meant that I could read this immediately after. It is a direct sequel to this. I think there's only like a few months that pass between when this one ends and when this one begins. So I feel like if I had had to wait for this to come out after I read that, I would have been really sad. But because I never got around to reading it, it meant that I could start this book right away. So that's very exciting, and I have read a little bit of it and I'm really enjoying it so far. I can't wait to see what happens, and I'm gonna take this book with me today and read while I am eating, maybe at the pub later. So yeah, this is kind of gonna be a little bit of a reading vlog too. I don't know, it's all over the place, but we're just gonna go for Dark Academia vibes. Yeah, that's the vibe today. And let me show you my outfit. So I tried on a few outfits today, but this is what I came up with. Literally, I just have my phone propped up on the window here, so this is the most casual video of all time. But yeah, so I'm wearing this piece. I got it secondhand. It's a little big, but I belted it to have kind of a more cinched waist. And then I tried on a few different shirts, but I just ended up with this white collared shirt. The belt is from Ralph Lauren. And then I have my Beware the Autumn People necklace from Ludlow Luna. And then, as I always have to wear when I go to the Cellar, which is the little pub that I love, these are my Guinness earrings, which I got actually from the Guinness factory in Dublin when we went there this spring. We did a tour. So it's the little Guinness harp. Those are my earrings. And then I'm just gonna be wearing boots, and then I have a coat that's very sort of Dark Academia-ish too. So I will put that on before we go. And yeah, that's the fit. So yeah, I think that's everything. Oh, wait, one more thing. This is the bag that I'm taking today. It is my Trinity College Library long room bag that I also got when we were in Dublin and went to see the Book of Kells and the Long Room at Trinity College Library. And I love it so much. And a very dark academia. This image is probably one you've seen a lot if you look at like Pinterest for dark academia or anything, because this library is the most aesthetic, so beautiful. So I'm gonna say dark academia a lot in this video, but very, very dark academia vibes. So yeah, that completes my outfit. And I have this little book sleeve, kind of fall vibes. So my book is in there, and then that's gonna go right in my bag. Let's head out. So like I said, I am really hungry, but I just remembered that Big Story, which is one of my favorite bookstores, is only open until 3. So we're gonna go there first. As you can see, it's right here. Doing this weird angle because this is not as good. So yeah, we're gonna go in there first, see if we can find maybe dark academia books or just anything good. And then we will go to Bose after that and get something to eat. So yeah, let's go inside. Okay, so we are done at Big Story and now we're outside of Bose. I did get some books at Big Story. None of them are truly dark academia, I don't think, but that's okay. There's still ones that I'm excited about and I really want to read, and I will share those with you a little bit later. I was going to bring my other TBR books with me to do like throughout this video the rest of my TBR, but of course I forgot. It's only 3 other books because my main goal is to get through Ninth House and Hellbent, which I think is going well since I've already finished Ninth House. But the other 3 books are actually part of a set. They are not in a series or anything. It's just they came in this Dark Academia box set that I got on Amazon. I'll post a picture of it somewhere over here. And the first one on the list is A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. And I'm really excited for that one. That's one that I had heard of before. It's about a boarding school, but also like murder and I think witch stuff, if I'm remembering correctly. Really looking forward to that one. It's like a girls' boarding school. And yeah, so that's the next one on my list. And let's go get some Bose, and then I'll tell you about the other books a little bit later. Actually, I just realized that if I'm posting the picture of the box set, you're going to see all of them. So maybe I should just tell you about them now, and then we could just do other things later, and you won't have to worry about the rest of the TBR. Okay, the other 2 in the box set are The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackwith, and then The Devil Makes 3 by Tori Bovalino. And when I did the video before that got ruined because there was no sound, I like read what those books were about on camera and stuff, but I hadn't heard of them before, and now I can't even remember what they're about except that they sounded good. And I think the 3rd one has like the actual devil in it, so that's pretty fun. I would recommend going to look them up and you can read the synopsises for yourself. To be honest, the video that got ruined was just like me reading the backs of the books anyway, which I feel like is not a very exciting video, but I remember that they both sounded really good and I am excited to read those. Tori Bovalino also had a story in a book of short stories that I read last October, and it was really good. I think it's in one of my Stories in Steeps video, and I want to say the book was called The Gathering Dark. Anyway, I really, really like the stories in that, and I really like their stories. So I have a feeling that I'm going to like this book a lot because I have already read something by that author before. So yeah, those are the other books on my TBR. I'm sorry that this video is just like all over the place, but honestly, I just did not have it in me to record that whole same long TBR video that I had done before when it was just ruined the first time. So this is what you're getting instead. I feel like people don't watch vlogs as much, which is fine, but I really like doing them, so this is what we're doing. But now let's go get something to eat and then go on to the little market and maybe get like a tea or something. and then we'll head downtown and maybe cruise around to some shops before we go to the pub. So let's go eat because I'm super hungry. Okay, so I lied when I said they were doing breakfast all day at Bo's. That was my mistake. But they had a special, a butternut squash soup special, which I'm sure you saw, and it was amazing. Butternut squash soup is like maybe my favorite soup. So that worked out perfectly. And I did get some bagels. They do like day old bagels. I got the rosemary bagels, which are my absolute favorite. So it was still a win. Now we're going to the market at the pantry. Like I said, I don't know how much of that I'll show you since I am gonna maybe do like a small business holiday shopping video, so I probably won't put too much of that footage here, but then after that we're gonna go downtown for a bit and wander around until it's time to go to the cellar. You'll see all of that, so let's go do it. Hello! It is now like a week later. This video, which is supposed to be my Dark Academia November TBR, is definitely coming out once again at the end of the month, or maybe even beginning of December, we will see. But I have decided that I'm never gonna be the person whose channel is like super aesthetic and well put together, so I should just embrace the chaos. If my TBR comes out at the end of the month, it comes out at the end of the month. If you don't wanna watch it, that's totally your choice. So we're just doing this anyway. I didn't do a like wrap up at the end of the shopping day because I wanted to share my book haul with you, but then it just took me a really long time. But we're gonna do it now. And also I wanted you to be able to see my Dark Academia background, which I had filmed in front of for the first video that didn't have any sound that I had to scrap. So here it is. I just wanted people to see it because I thought it was cute. So we're gonna do the book haul here. These books are not all Dark Academia books. They are mostly not Dark Academia books, but they are just the books that I bought that day when I did my Dark Academia day. So we're gonna start with the books that I got at Big Story, which is that first bookstore I went to. I was trying to find sort of some Dark Academia books. These are more like Victorian murder-y, but I still feel like they have those kinds of vibes. And the first one is called The House on Vesper Sands, and it's by Pereig O'Donnell. The cover is beautiful, and it takes place in 1893. There's murders in this house or disappearances or something. The inspector who's trying to solve the mystery is a Cambridge dropout, so does that count as dark academia? It doesn't take place at a college, but he did go to Cambridge for a while, I guess. So yeah, I'm excited to read it. I'm not gonna tell you all the full description, but if you think this sounds interesting, you can go look it up. So the next one that I got there is called Cleopatra's Dagger, and it's by Carol Lawrence. Another very intriguing cover. This one I feel like also looks like it has dark academia vibes. It is about a reporter for the Herald, so newspapers, I don't know, it involves writing. It's kind of like academia, but it also is like kind of a murder mystery, but it has like ancient Egypt ties, and I love anything that is to do with ancient Egypt. So that's kind of why I picked it up. But it's kind of like a potentially serial killer, but like the murders are tied to Egyptian lore. So I thought it sounded really cool, right up my alley for sure. So I'm excited about that one too. And this one also takes place in the late 1800s. So that historical factor is another thing that I love. So very happy about that one. And then this one is also not at all dark academia, but I just really loved the cover of it. It's called The Awakening by Kate Chopin. It's basically about a Victorian era woman who meets a man on her summer vacation, and it gets sexy, I guess. So yeah, I don't really know anything about it, but it sounded really interesting. It's just a really beautiful edition, and it also has these historical photos. Oh, sorry, that's a bookmark from the bookstore that I bought it at. It has like these historical photos in it, which I thought was really cool. So yeah, I just thought it was a gorgeous looking book, and I love the Victorian era, like I've mentioned before. So the fact that this is an older novel that was written in that era, I don't know. I just had to buy it. I mean, look at it. And I think I'm going to try and read it and not just look at it. So we'll see. We'll see what it's like. So those are all the books I got at Big Story. And then I went to the Underground Book Gallery, I think is what it's called, which is the one right next to the little British style pub that I like to go to. And I got a bunch of books there too. So the books I got there are just like a hodgepodge of stuff. Not dark academia at all. But yeah, I just love to buy books, and I thought I would share them with you because doing book hauls is really fun. And if you're watching this channel and you like books, then hopefully you'll want to see these. So the first one that I got is In and Out of the Garden by Sarah Mida. And I just thought this was so pretty. It has all these illustrations that are just like go with it, but it also is like a gardening book. So it's just like the most aesthetic gardening book that I've ever seen. So it's kind of like part journal, part gardening advice, all very beautiful. I don't know. I just saw it and I was like, I have to own that. I love gardening and I love beautiful books. It says this book is an exquisite potpourri of garden lore painted in minute jewel-like detail. Here are summer days of raspberry picking, swarms of bees laden with pollen, peas ripe for potting, herbs for flavoring. Every page, including the text, has been hand-painted. It is beautiful to look at and a delight to read. Dip into it for recipes, poems, proverbs, and garden thought. Like, I just don't think there's a book that's more me than this book. I mean, even has recipes, which is super exciting. I don't know. I'm so stoked about this. I cannot even tell you. Okay, up next we have The Archivist by Martha Cooley. Once again, the name and the cover are what drew me to this. I used to be an archivist, and a librarian, so anything to do with archives or libraries is just my jam. The cover is so good. I love that it has like, you know, the note card, the file folder. It's just really beautiful too. And so it's about a librarian where he is working on an archive of letters from T.S. Eliot, which I love T.S. Eliot. He meets this woman who's also coming to look at the letters. It kind of brings up his past. I don't know. It sounds really interesting. And sometimes I do buy books just because they look great, but I do really want to read this one as well. So the spine is cool looking. And then next we have Lord Peter Views the Body by Dorothy Sayers. And I've never read any Dorothy Sayers, but it's funny because I'm currently reading A Lesson in Vengeance, which I mentioned at the beginning of the video before I had like read a lot of my TBR books. I finished Ninth House and Hellbent, and they were both amazing. Loved them. Like some of my favorite books of the year. Currently reading A Lesson in Vengeance. Also, I'm liking it so far. But the main character is reading Dorothy Sayers in it. And I honestly I feel like I'd heard of Dorothy Sayers, but I'd never read any of her books. I didn't really know who she was until I went to the bookstore, and the bookstore owner was like, oh yeah, because I was asking about cozy mysteries, and he was like, have you read Dorothy Sayers? She's kind of contemporary to Agatha Christie. So yeah, I got this book, and I got this before I was reading A Lesson in Vengeance, and now the character in that is reading Dorothy Sayers too. So I'm excited about it. I love how pulpy the cover is. Honestly, half the reason I bought this is just because the cover is so pulpy and amazing. But I'll definitely check it out. I'm gonna read some Dorothy Sayers and see if I like it. All right, and then I did find an actual cozy mystery when I was at the bookstore too. This is called The Cat of the Baskervilles by Vicki Delaney, and it's a Sherlock Holmes bookshop mystery. I love cozy mysteries. I've probably talked about it before. It's one of my favorite genres to just read when I don't want to think too much and I just want to have something super cozy to read. I used to get really into, okay, I have to find one I want to read and start at the beginning of the series and read them all. But lately I'm just why not just pick a random one up and see if you like it? So this was $2 or something at the bookstore. So I was like, I'll just get this one and see if I like it. And I'm always a big fan of ones that involve cats because, I love cats. Definitely looking forward to reading this. Not really dark academia, but it is Sherlock Holmes based. So that kind of is something, right? But I'm gonna add it to my list of books to read. And then the final book that I got at the Underground Book Gallery is the one I'm the most excited about probably. Even though that gardening one is probably the perfect book for me, this is the one I'm most excited about because it just seems so unique. I mean, you could, I don't know, I didn't look it up. You could probably just buy it on Amazon or something, a used copy, but I just thought it was so cool, especially because I'm reading dark academia books right now. And I feel like Latin is always a big part of dark academia, scholars doing scholarly things. I feel like Latin is always involved. So I grabbed this as soon as I saw it, and it is Winnie il Pooh. And I don't know how to read Latin or pronounce it, so that's probably wrong, but it's Winnie the Pooh in Latin. And I love Winnie the Pooh. It was one of my favorite stories / worlds when I was a kid. So I love that this is Winnie the Pooh, and then I love that it is in Latin. It almost makes me want to try and learn Latin so that I can read it. But it even has the map of 100 Acre Wood, but with the Latin names of things. I love that it's so well loved. The paper cover's pretty beat up, but actually the actual cover is in fairly good condition. The dust jacket is just seen better days, but I kind of love that about it. And it does have some illustrations as well. So it's basically just Winnie the Pooh, but written in Latin. I was just really excited about this one. I just think it's so cool and such a unique thing to have in your library, So that was it. So yeah, that was all the books that I got on my Dark Academia Day book shopping trip. Not actually a lot of dark academia books in there, but I really love all the books that I got and I was stoked to share them with you. So let me know down in the comments if you have a particular book from this haul that you really thought was cool, or if you've read any of these books, please let me know. Some of them, like I said, I haven't even heard of before, so I have no idea if they're going to be good or not, but they just sounded interesting or really good, so I am looking forward to reading those. Apologies that this video is going out so late, but that's just what this channel is. I have decided, embrace the chaos. This is going to be just a hodgepodge of a channel, and that's what it's going to be. So hopefully you want to come along on that ride with me. If you do, please like and subscribe to keep up with any content that I post. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's at House Beyond the Hedge. If you want to follow me on Twitch and watch me play video games or whatever things I do on Twitch, then you can follow me over there at Trusty Parasol. I like to play cozy games sometimes, but also other games. So just stop in and we can have a chat. That's what I love about Twitch, is it's live. So I don't know, you can talk to people in real time and it's just fun. I did a really fun Dark Academia sort of photo shoot with my neighbor who is learning photography. So that's what the title card of this video is. If you're like, this wasn't in the video at all, those are just pictures from the photo shoot. So, and let me know if you have any favorite dark academia books, because I definitely want to put them on my list. It's a genre that I really love to read. So let me know down in the comments if any dark academia books that you've read that you really love, and I will add them to my reading list. Maybe for next year, but honestly, I don't know, maybe in January, after I've sort of read some holiday books for December, I might go back to some Dark Academia because I'm really enjoying it right now. And as always, remember to keep the kettle warm because I will see you next time.